Hello viewers, well it's time for the last of our Assetto Corsa videos from E3 2018. So we'll dive in and take a look back in the menus and selecting the fourth challenge with a day-night transition on Spa. Cars are on the grid and lining up ready to go. 21 cars in the race, nicely lined up there. And thanks for all of your feedback on the other videos. All of it's helpful for the developers. I know from a developer perspective it can be frustrating when you're working on something and people don't always realize that actually that's a placeholder effect and we're going to work on that and make it better. But I can tell you right now that this is pre-alpha footage and that everything can change. So when we point things out in these videos, don't think that's it, that's the end of it, it's never going to get any better. The developers watch this, they take the feedback on board, and a lot of it they probably know already and they're still working on in terms of the handling, in terms of the effects of weather and how that affects the tyres and the car and everything else. So there's always a lot going into this to get it just right, and these guys are perfectionists. Assetto Corsa had incredible handling, and they're going to be working again this time to improve upon that and really bring it all together, especially now they have an official series. But in the car then, and getting ready for the rolling start, so away we go, maintaining the speed until the start. So in this video then we'll be looking at the, I say, day-night, evening to night transition. I think this is one of the key events. We've seen the rain, now we're going to see the day-night transition, and it'll be really interesting to see how Assetto Corsa develops over the course of the next few months until its final release. And I don't have any information in terms of release dates, in terms of the development plan for this game, so I have absolutely no idea how long it's going to take. But either way, a version is being released this year. It's certainly looking very good, but there is still a lot to do, no doubt. So Uppo Rouge and AI, of course, hanging on much better now in the dry conditions. We saw in the wet conditions the AI a bit slower, struggling a bit, obviously still a work in progress, but here they're hanging on, braking at the right times. I mean, as well they should, with the experience that Kunos have with the standard dry conditions. The cars are looking nice detail on the cars, nice effects on the bodywork, and everyone's being very sensible with their driving. You can see the difference in terms of how late the driver can be on the brakes, really putting the car where they want to, compared to the wet conditions. So there is a transition there in terms of the handling already, and just trying to find his space as he works his way around. We're cycling through the different viewpoints. That's usually the viewpoint I use. I always feel that from a cockpit cam, that for me is much more authentic, because your eyes are looking outside the windscreen. You're never really looking at anything below, where the rev lights are on your dash. Really, you have quite a narrow field of vision when you're driving a car, be it any car, even down the road. You have to look down at your dash to see it, because your eyes are always looking down the road where they should be. So gradually working through the field, see the sun lowering in the sky there, gives it a nice ambient atmosphere through the trees, which is nice. I think graphically, it's a step forward in terms of refinement in a number of ways. Lots of spot effects and details. I think also you have to remember, Kunos aren't the biggest company in the world. It's made by a very small team, and I think when people look at games, they often compare, Gran Turismo to something like this, which has an enormous team and budget compared to, say, Kunos in terms of what they're putting out and delivering. So I think it really is remarkable what a team like Kunos has managed to put together, and that clearly the success of Assetto Corsa has enabled them to really invest and take their technology further. And this is only a good thing, because it will make it more competitive in the future on both PC and console racing games. And as console performance increases, so the ability to convert these titles accurately to the console without losing lots on the way will enable more competition from all the racing developers as we see the outside car view again. And of course we have the rear view mirror at the top there, working well.
Right lane, 5 minutes to go.
Certainly this is more the console gamer's point of view for me. I never drive from outside the car, but you do have a benefit, and it's in many respects it's worth learning this view, because if you're racing online you can see more around you and it slows everything down a bit. You lose the feeling of speed, and that's slowing everything down. Also, I do like the sun there as well, as we see the sun setting slowly. I do like the feeling of speed myself, but if you're prepared to race from behind the car, you actually have a benefit in a number of ways, and a lot of top esports players will do whatever they can to drive from behind the car, because they do get that advantage in terms of the overall view. So working our way through the field up to 12th place, and again just about holding that position, not quite, never quite through there, but it was interesting to see the AI taking its line and shutting the door. It's really open. Car always gets drawn wide there, and then you're wanting to position it well. Players probably holding back a little bit here just to show you some of the AI. I could have got the power a bit quicker. So you can see the sun is setting, the lights are starting to glow, and we see that transition in terms of the sky and detail. It's strange, isn't it? I mean, we've seen day-night in a lot of games for a long time, but it is exciting to see a company like Kunos with their, the work they've put into their engine, bringing it up to date in this way, and especially as such a small, comparatively small developer, that they've managed to achieve this is excellent in terms of the technology, especially with their physics. It makes it very exciting for the future. So through the different views. But again, do give your feedback. I mean, the feedback, as obvious as some of it may be to the developers, everything is helpful, and there are things that stand out, and it will all help to make it a better game. And we will come back to see how it develops in the coming months and test it out, and I'll be testing it with Ben Green as well, so that I can get his accurate feeling. He'll be racing in Spa, the British GT in Spa, as it happens, in the next few weeks, so that will give him again a really authentic input in terms of everything to do with this type of racing. And you can see it really is getting darker now. Such a transition, when it gets so dark at these circuits, it's pitch black at night. You really need to know your braking points change, and your whole feel for the circuit changes. It's a completely different mindset. A bit like when it gets foggy as well, when there's a fog there, mist, whether it be rain, you're looking at different elements and picking out different braking points. You need to have a range of braking points there as the transition happens. Obviously it happens much quicker in a game than it does in real life. It's taking time, but he's worked his way up now to 11th place. Just trying to get by there. Maybe a car is outside. Got fireworks as well, just adding to the illumination of the evening and show off some more lighting effects. That's nice. Well, certainly it's all very nice. It's nicely refined at this stage, running really, really well. And I will point out as well, I do like the HUD. It's a nice, refined, detailed HUD, but it's got all the detail you need, and it's very polished indeed. Very nice. Getting caught up on the curbs there. And down to Row Rouge again, which is illuminated, so that's helpful at least. Goodness. Just out on the outside and up into the next position. And as the field spread continues, so we have more of the darkness creeping in. Driver working hard. Always more to concentrate on. He's definitely trying to push a bit harder now. I can see he's trying to really push to overtake these guys now. Noticing the
race is over. Great job,
effects from the brake lights there. But that concludes his run, and that race is over. And very nice it was too. So that was interesting to see. So we've, over these past few days, we've looked at the dry weather, we've looked at the wet weather, we've looked at various races, and we see some of the elements that this is going to bring together in the package, and we look forward to seeing the final package in terms of everything that's going to be in there. But certainly a lot of developments going into it. I'm going to leave you now just this little bit of blurry replay footage in the background, and we do look forward to when we can see the real thing and have it all full screen and run some multicams as well. But that's it from me for now. Hope you've enjoyed this content at E3. There's more to come, and there'll be more from me very soon.